Okay, it's working. There's always, I don't know, after all this time, and you work in technology yourself, Tia, like there's still days where you're like,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
gonna
and
work.
it's the day that like all of a sudden your internet's going to go out, like when you need to rely on it, right? Like all the things stop working and you're like, what is happening? An update happens. Like
Yeah,
not the time.
I love computers. It's so great. Well,
Yeah.
we're in the stalling section. We're gonna wait for people to come and join us. But while we do, I always like my lighthearted banter is like, are you a coffee drinker?
This morning I'm doing tea, but lately I've been doing I have this Bombay chai, and so I've been doing like partial coffee with my Bombay chai like tea bag and then loads of cream. And it's super delicious. It
It's
feels
called
like
a dirty chai.
it is. That's my favorite holiday drink is a dirty chai during the I guess it's just my favorite drink because during the summer I like it iced, an iced dirty chai. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
I don't
it's
think I've
so
ever
good.
done it cold. No,
Yeah.
dirty chai's like probably, gosh, it's got to be 2 years now that I'm like, I'm obsessed with them. I
Yes.
didn't know they were a thing before.
Yeah. The one of the local bakeries, 94 Takes the Cake. I think they have my favorite version of the dirty chai. And they
Okay.
also did like a fall explosion one year where it added I don't know what they added. They added like nutmeg. They added like you just keep adding more and more,
Yeah.
and it was delicious.
Price.
But
Oh,
yeah,
okay. I'm gonna
that's
have to
what.
try it there. I like them at they're also really good at the creperie in High River.
Ooh,
Yeah.
there's been a few things in High River that I need to just spend a good like weekend almost going out to all the places. I haven't been there, like actually shopping for a while, so I need to get out and go and
There's so
explore
many
it.
new places. I was talking to
Bookstores,
someone the other day and we were going over all the stores that we hadn't been to yet. And I'm like, oh my
yeah,
gosh, it's a good time.
yeah. High River is the place to hang out. So yeah, it's been a minute for me to be out there intentionally for shopping. I've been out there to visit a friend, but I just go to my friend's house.
Yeah,
So gonna make a day of it.
there you go. It works. Well,
What are you
awesome.
drinking this morning?
This morning's peppermint tea and honey. It's pretty
Oh,
boring, but
I'm peppermint tea. I didn't add the honey though. The honey would be really good.
yeah, I find, I don't know, it sweetens interesting. Well, I woke up with that like little bit of a sore throat. And so I'm like,
Mm,
is it because it's dry and minus 1,000, or is this something else? So I'm like, tea, tea, tea.
yeah, the winter guessing game. You guess where you are on the road, and you guess whether you have a cold or dryness.
Yeah, or just dry air because you had to crank the heat. Exactly. But
Exactly.
awesome. Well, as people join Coffee Club this morning, please say hi in the comments and let us know you're hanging out. And by all means, if you've got a question or would like to say hi to Tia, we would love you to do so in the comments. But we will get started in our coffee/tea club this morning and have some fun. And Tia is with us. She's got a company called Unscripted Co., which, oh, I don't know, you cover a gamut of so many amazing things. And you've been growing your company. I remember when you just started in High River, and Tia and I met because we both love health and wellness. And we came
Hmm.
together for a health and wellness project in the community of High River. And I've just become her Instagram stalker ever since then, because I love your content and what you're doing, and just have always felt like
Thank
I
you.
wanted to cheerlead all of that fun stuff. So some of the cool things I'll just rattle off and we'll talk more about it. But you started a podcast a few years ago, which has been so great. You are a mindset coach. I know that you increased your team. You even have a cute little office space. Like, you've just done so many great things. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, I thank you. It's so nice to hear things back when you're like, yeah, I'm kind of moving along, I'm doing stuff. But then when you have somebody like bullet point the stuff that you've been doing, you're like, wow, I've been rocking it. I've been doing a lot. But
Yeah.
really, I just created a business where I get to talk to people because that's what I enjoy doing. So I wanted something where I could go for coffee with somebody, and that's part of my job. So that's what I've created. Every time I add something or do something, it's like, how do I get to be with people more? And okay, let's add that. So how can I have a conversation? Let's do a podcast. How can I meet with people in person? Well, let's join like a wellness program and support them in that. Like it's just how I can keep talking and keep connecting, because that's my quality time, is my love language. So the more I can do it, the better. And yeah, I'm also on top of that list, I'm also a registered social worker. So I wear two hats in coaching and counseling and kind of marriage them together. So yeah, it's
Well,
a
I
fun
think that's why
time.
it's my kindred spirit. Anybody who's like, how can we work by getting paid to have coffee with people? I'm like, I'm with you, sister, all the
Right?
way. So
Yeah. Yeah. Whenever people talk about like, oh, there's this networking event where we have to go and see people, I'm like, oh, sign me up. Let's like, are we having wine? Are we having coffee? Like, how are we meeting? Let's go and connect. Like, I'm all for it. So yeah.
I love that. Well, and so I encourage people to follow Unscripted Co on Instagram, because you will get filled with all sorts of great content. And that's what's, you've been on my list, Tia, for a long time to come and join us on Coffee Club. And it was the other day where I saw one of your stories and I was like, man, that's such a good idea. I need you to come chat about that along with the many other things. So just know that we are going to continue to have you on the show, because I feel like there's 1,000 things that we need to talk about all the time. So hang on one
Yeah.
sec.
Well,
Facebook's
well,
having an issue. So
Well, while you do that, I'll kind of talk
yeah.
about the beginning of the year. We both decided kind of different ideas, but it kind of happened where I wanted to meet 100 faces this year and wanted to have like 100 people that I then create a gallery wall. I haven't printed my pictures yet, but I've been taking pictures and I've been wanting to add them to my wall of all the interactions that I have with new people, connections that I make, just wonderful people that have been a part of my life and my story. And then at the same time, you were also doing your 100 coffee meetings, and how like it was just so neat to know, hey, this is the purpose. Our purpose is to meet people and to engage with people and enjoy a warm beverage with them as well.
Yeah, I don't know if I really ever made it to 100. I did it for, I think, 3 years in a row, and then even still tried electronically through COVID, but probably
Yeah.
if I really counted them up, I made it over 100. But yeah, it's just a fun way to connect with people. So I was all like, that's it, go 100 cups of coffee. That's should be everybody's goal, especially when you're wanting to learn things. So
Yes.
it works
Agreed.
out really cool. So one of the things that you had posted in your story that I thought was really cool, and I wanted to connect with people for this time of year, because I think you're probably seeing it a lot in your coaching work, and really both the hats that you're wearing, with the incredible amounts of pressures and stress that come around the holiday season. And I don't know why we do this collectively as humans, because we know that it's not necessary. Like, I think in our heart of hearts, we're like, this is not necessary, but we still keep doing it every single year. And you started an idea on your story about secondhand gifts. And at
Mhm.
first, people might think, like, oh, what? But we found this really cool way to do that. And I wanted you to share, because I thought this is a really neat way to get creative in the holidays.
Yeah. Yeah. I started changing the way that I thought about Christmas the last, probably really the last 3 years, intentionally, because I found that essentially September, October, I would start to get this big ball of nerves and just not feel great. I felt constantly just off, and that feeling would stay with me all throughout the holidays, all the way until we got out of the zone of constant holiday doings and having to, because there's Thanksgiving and there's Christmas, and then there's just like more and more and more. And so I would get this feeling. And so I decided to start changing the way, with the support of my own counselor, because counselors see counselors too, and realized that there was just so much stress and anxiety on the performance of Thanksgiving and the performance of Christmas, and that what we were supposed to do versus what was really actually important. And like for me, again, it's more about the connections and being able to see people and hear what they've been doing and celebrate them, but not just run around and try to stress about like getting the perfect gift. And so this year, and I've passed that kind of that support on to and seen with a lot of my clients as well, this stress of how we're supposed to do things. So this year I was like, okay, well, my daughter is 6. And of course, she like as they get older, they want like these more and more expensive things, right? Like,
oh yeah, mine's 13. I get you. Yeah.
And like it's either tech world or it's just like these big toys, and it's not realistic for the budget. And it's so hard to kind of say, let's spend all of our money that we've worked so hard for in the entire year and spend it in these big chunks at the end of the year, and then start January feeling depleted. So I was like, well, I know that there's some things that she wants. How can I get them in a way that honors my budget, honors myself of not stressing about having to find the best things, but also brings a little bit of joy for her? Because I mean, if she woke up Christmas morning and didn't have any presents, I don't think that would be ideal for her. So I started looking around and saw so many great things on Facebook Marketplace, and I was like, okay, well, maybe that's a good idea of where I can start. And it actually works. There's a lot more work that goes into before you buy, but really breaking it down for myself. Okay, what are her top 3 things that I want to get her for this year? Because it's from us, the dog, and then Santa gets her something as well. So if I chose the top 3 things and I chose them from from the marketplace, wow, that saved me. I think it saved me about $200 just in doing that, just for her gifts, which is really, really nice.
Which is cool. And then it really helps the whole, like further down the line of like somebody either throwing that away or whatever that looks like. Like it's all around repurposing in a really cool fashion.
Well, and I think like we get so stuck on, and I mean we get inundated with it with ads and things like that of buy new, and the purpose of something, like if it's working and functioning and does what you need it to do, it doesn't have to come in a brand new box. It can just be exactly what it needs to be, gift wrapped by you however you want to do it. And so I mean, like there was somebody that I don't think she'll watch this, my daughter won't watch it, but so like one of the things that we wanted to get her was she wants a Google Nest in her room so she can listen to music, because we have them everywhere. We have many Google Nests in every room, so that way we can play music or we can talk to each other or use it for white noise. My partner and I use it for white noise at night, and she wanted it too. I'm like, okay, well, I could go and spend $35 on it, but somebody was giving it, like selling it, that it just didn't work for their family. It didn't work for them.
Yeah.
It was still in the box. It was perfect, and like test it and stuff like that. You still have to look for making sure things are in good quality. Lava lamps. That's another one, right? Like there's so many neat things that people do have that they're giving away, that are reselling, that creates space for them, but it also makes you step away from that consumerism aspect and just focuses on, this was the present I wanted to get you. This was the gift that I thought was meaningful for you, and I'm going to focus on that. I'm not going to focus on running around to every store and just trying to fill my cart with as many things as possible, or doing the big list on Amazon, right?
Yeah. Well, and it was funny because in preparing for this, I had a friend too who had texted me the other day, a mom friend. She was like, hey, my son really wants Pokemon stuff for Christmas. I know that your son used to love Pokemon. Do you have any Pokemon stuff around that he doesn't use it? Because lots of stuff is so like age specific for kids, right? They go through this phase of really loving something, and then they wake up the next morning and all of a sudden they hate Pokemon, and you just bought 45 Pokemon things. But she was sending it out to a bunch of moms, and I saw it on her Facebook too, of saying like, if anybody's got Pokemon stuff that they don't want in their house, we're doing Pokemon this Christmas. And I love that idea too, of just networking with other moms or people in your
Yeah.
social media circles, of just like, how else can we support each other through the holidays? And
Yeah.
I haven't seen a lot of that before. Like, it just
Yeah.
sort of, I don't know if, when you become aware of something, then you really see it as it goes. But I just was really loving this concept this year.
Yeah. There was, yeah, just being able to put it out there, because that might not have been something that you would have maybe thought to have put up on Marketplace either, right? Because you're saying, oh, well, like maybe your son's still using it, probably not at this age. And you're like, what do I do with this? I don't want to throw it away. There's no point in throwing it away. You could take it to some Goodwill stores or things like that, which is totally fine. But if you know it's going specifically to somebody and the purpose that they have for it, it makes you feel good too. You're like, oh yeah, I've got that. I can do that for you, right?
Well, yeah.
The other thing that I've really focused on too, and so as I said at the beginning, my love language is a quality time. So gift giving is definitely not a love language of mine. Receiving gifts is never a part of a love language, but having quality time together, so experience gifts are huge. My partner and I made the decision a few years ago that anybody over the age of 18, we weren't getting gifts for them, because typically they're working and able to get their own gifts. Like they've spent the money to go find something. So at that point, it felt strange, because it's like, I'm spending money for you to spend money for us to just exchange things that we might not want. Or we could just separately take our money and get something that we really do want, or save it for something later. But we do want to spend time together. So with my in-laws and all my husband's sisters and their spouses and stuff like that, we actually have started to do experience gifts with the adults. So we get to go and do something fun together. We did this last year. We did an escape room, which was super fun, and then went for dinner, because oftentimes the kids are always around and we're not really able to sit and get to know, like, how's life? How are things going? What are you up to? Like having some conversations that maybe we don't want the kids to be around or interrupting. And so we started focusing on that, which is, whew, like, just talking about it, I'm like, oh, I feel so much better. Just know that I can go and spend a night or a day with them doing something fun. That's a memory we'll have, and not having to worry about trying to find something for somebody that I'm not sure what they'll like.
Yeah. Well, and I love that it creates such a beautiful intention behind it also, because I think when you think in your brain, you're like, like, we could go have dinner with so-and-so and so-and-so anytime, and you think you will, but life just keeps rolling, and all of a sudden it's a year later and you haven't. But when you've created that intention behind that, okay, this activity and this dinner is a piece of our exchange for the holidays, you'll follow through with it more than just talk about it. Like, how many people do you have in your life that are like, we'll have coffee sometime? Yeah. And then 3 months go by, and then you see them, oh yeah, we're going to do that. And then another 3 months go by. And so I love the beautiful energy of the intention behind that.
Yeah. And choosing who you gather with, actually, that's a good point, because there are some people that you're like, yeah, the intention's there and maybe I want to, but I don't really have the time. And it's not even the time, but maybe it's the mental capacity right now, right? We've got so many other things that are happening that seeing some people, yes, as the holidays, it would be great to see certain people, but it's not really realistic in this time constraint. We try to like shove everything into just like a month and a half of doing it all together at the same time, that it becomes overwhelming, and we get like overstimulated too. Like, we're just almost buzzing, or you crash, right? You have a couple of days and you're just like wiped out, because all you've been doing is running around trying to think of gifts, trying to connect with people, trying to do all the things to make this holiday special, but you don't get to enjoy it because you've wiped yourself out.
Yeah. So how else? Like, I love the checking Marketplace, creating some different intention. And I know that you do a lot of what you call mindset coaching. So there's a lot of these things that it's just like, offering this other perspective and switching those gears a little bit. But how can people get more support in doing that and taking some of that pressure away for the holidays?
Yeah. Excuse me. One of the things is like, I mean, the first part is asking yourself, what's the purpose of this? What do I want out of the holidays? And what are you wanting to remember? What's Priya Parker? I had to write her down because she wrote this book and she has a TED Talk on the art of gathering. And it's so interesting to pay attention to about why we gather and how we gather and who we gather with. And you can apply it to so many different scenarios. It could be work-based, but it could also be just intentionally for holidays. And so when you start to think about, okay, what's my purpose for getting through the holidays? What would I like? If you start with, I just want to get through it, I think there's a lot of work around, okay, well, why hasn't the holidays been an enjoyable thing for you? There might be lots of people that are grieving this year, right? We've had some really difficult and challenging years the past couple of years, and if grief is part of it, there is some work that we can do in creating, how do we create this as a new memory for yourself? How do you build to where this becomes a tradition that you go back to, rather than trying to hold on to things that maybe are tied to memories that are not the greatest, that are a little bit challenging for you? And giving yourself that permission to say, okay, I can do things differently. I can unscript myself essentially and go down the story that I want to go down and the path that I want to go down and start creating the meaning for myself. Maybe that is you only meet with one side of the family because the other side of the family creates so much tension that that's not a good environment for you. And that's okay. It's thinking about what's going to give you that possibility of peace, but actual peace, not just keeping the peace so that way nobody gets mad, but actually giving you some harmony, giving you some calmness, giving you that space to breathe. And that's what you're looking for and guiding yourself towards. So there's a lot of reflection, I say at the beginning, of thinking about, okay, well, why is this happening? Like, what's the purpose? Like, what's my why? And then also creating a list of, okay, who are the ones that I really want to make sure that I focus on if you are buying gifts. For me, my partner and I, we don't buy gifts for each other. We never have for holidays. I mean, we've been together for 18 years. So it's not like, I would rather them go and get the things that they want when it's on sale in June versus having to try to see if it's been put on sale for Black Friday or marked up typically. There was this moment last year, which I think this has really helped me rethink this year. My daughter really wanted a Gabby dollhouse. And so it's like the Gabby dollhouse show or something like that. And so I was like, okay, well, I could look into getting that for her. And I think it was September or so I had seen, and it was probably about $80 in September. I was like, oh, okay, I'll wait till it goes maybe a bit more on sale closer to Christmas. I'll wait till Black Friday or something. Well, by the time we got closer and closer to Christmas, even for Black Friday, sold out everywhere. I don't know if I missed some sort of memo that it was like the hot ticket last Christmas, but it was sold out of all the stores. So the only place you could get it was Amazon. You had to order it online, probably shipping issues too, right? But so you had to get it online. Well, it was going for over $200. Even for Black Friday sales, it was going for over $200 because it was wanted. It got majorly marked up. So I could have bought it at a good price back in September, but I was like, oh, I'll wait, see if it's a better sale, and then miss the boat. And so it just made me reconsider why. And then of course people are buying it because they really know that their kid wants it, and they're stretching themselves beyond maybe their financial capacities. And then their kid stops playing with it in February, or not even in January. They move on to something else. And there's this disappointment to the attachment of what you've spent on something, right? Yeah. So yeah, it was such an interesting, like, oh, okay, this is why we focus more on the person and not so much of the item.
Yeah. Yeah, we have interesting attachment to an expected outcome on so many things in life. And
Yeah.
I don't know if we think about that when it comes to gift giving sometimes, right? Like you
Yeah.
think of even when you give a gift, you expect someone to be so excited. And when their response isn't what you thought in your mind, and then you're like, oh, like where are
Yeah.
these feelings coming from? So knowing like when you gift it over. Like
Yes.
don't expect someone to give you something back. Not
Yeah.
even literally, but just like even emotionally. Just you
Yeah.
gotta just gift it.
Yeah, that's a really good point because it's when we attach, because what you're doing in that sense is you're attaching to someone else's story and you're attaching to what you think that they're going to have, that experience that they're going to have with it, when really it got created from your own story and your own, I think that this is what they would enjoy. So appreciating the thought around it of what you were doing, right? We go back to that saying, it's the thought that counts. And it really is the thought that counts because you were intentional in like, oh, I see this thing and this is perfect for this person. I was at the dollar store yesterday for picking up something random. I can't remember what it was. And I saw this one gift and I was like, this is perfect for my niece. I have not seen this anywhere else. This is absolutely perfect. And there was a moment I was like, well, can I get her a toy from the dollar store? Like, I mean, because consumerism is such a part of our language and the pressure that we feel, that I'm like, well, I mean, it's not something that would break right away, but it's something that I think that they would really enjoy. And I haven't seen it anywhere else. Like, I know that this is for them and I'm excited about it. And so I got it for them. And but it's interesting to notice the thoughts, notice the moment that I hesitated because of where I was buying it, not why I was buying it. So when you notice that you're more focused on the where rather than the why, that's where you can bring yourself back to, okay, what's the purpose here? Why am I getting this for this person? What's important, right?
Yeah. No, that's amazing. Yeah, like I said, we could talk for hours and hours, but we'll let people get back to their days because we're just having a coffee break. But please know that I'm going to pester you many more times to come and have coffee or tea with us and share the cool things out of your brain, because you've got one of those minds I just want to keep picking.
Pick away. I'm available anytime. I love when people stop in my DMs just to have a chat. If there is something I've said and you're like, okay, what did you mean by that? I'm open to the conversation. I'm open to having more conversations. So yeah,
perfect.
Hit me up anytime.
So go and follow Tia on Instagram at Unscripted Co. That's the only platform you're on, right?
Primarily is just, I mean, I play a little bit on TikTok. It's been fun. But yeah, unscriptedco.ca is the @ handle or the website. So whatever you want to kind of connect there, but I find it easiest to connect on Instagram.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you so much for sharing that today and joining us. And we look forward to having you back really soon.
Thank you very much. This was fun.
We got disconnected from Facebook, but I'm going to post it back up there after we're done being live on Twitter and YouTube. But technology, you just never know what will happen with it. But so I will let you know if there's more comments that come after I get this one posted up on Facebook.
Perfect.
Have an amazing rest of your Wednesday and stay warm.
Too. Yes, it's like a snow globe out there right now. So stay warm, stay safe, and happy holidays, I guess.
All right. Happy holidays to you too. Bye, everybody. We'll see you back here on Friday morning at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time.